pledge for this one too. Yeah.
Are we ready?
As soon as he gets done writing. Okay, we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alright. It is March 31st, Morgan Township Emergency Meeting, 2018. Roll call, please.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
We are present.
Alright. I called this meeting to discuss the tar distribution truck that Rob Brim found. It was actually on an auction site.
Have you seen this?
No. The truck is up in Upper Sandusky, Ohio, and Rob and David Lear from the road superintendent from Riley were actually attending a class up in Columbus for the road sign grant, and then decided to leave from there and go up to Upper Sandusky, which is about an hour northwest of Columbus, and check out the truck.
That's after they visited the one in Manchester.
They've looked at quite a few trucks, and most of them showed their age and just they were going to probably be more problems than what they're worth. This is a 1995 truck. It's only got like 28,000 miles on it. It was actually used in a township up near Sandusky, Upper Sandusky. It's not Sandusky. Sandusky's way farther north. This is Upper Sandusky. And in that township, the trustees are also the road maintenance. So this trustee was a farmer, bought this truck, and he maintained the roads, chip sealing the roads and that.
One owner.
Yep. So the truck has been very well taken care of, very little use. Rob had Daniel Morrissey check out the motor and that on the truck, just not physically look at it. And Daniel said it's a very good engine, 28,000 miles. You know, if the truck looks good, it's not rusted, the bones are good. So they checked that out. They looked at the truck. There's no rust. It's very clean. The guy even said the owner wiped it down after every use and kept it in a barn. So, given the fact that a new one is about $180,000, Rob did do his due diligence and look into the possibility of renting one. It's $12,000 a month, but given the work that we would do, we couldn't get all our work and Riley Township's work. We couldn't plan on getting it all done in 1 month because of weather and other duties that they got to do within, in the summer months, cutting grass and anything else that might pop up. So they'd have to rent it for 2 months. You're at $24,000 already if we rented it for 2 months. This is $22,000 and we own it. Now, will there be some issues that might come up? Yeah, it's a 23-year-old truck.
We do know we need to buy a flow meter.
Yeah, we need a flow meter.
Which he told us is going out, so.
Right. So that basically controls the flow out of and it's got a 24-foot bar on the back so they can do the whole road at one time.
Okay.
So anyway, I think, we're not jumping into this. Rob's done his due diligence. He's looked at quite a few trucks. He's looked at new ones. He's looked at rentals. Him and David Lear are the ones that are going to basically be using it. They're comfortable with it. So I recommend that we go ahead and.
Well, they even said too that this one looks better than the ones they looked for in the $30,000 to $40,000 range.
And it was $23,900, and the guy agreed to sell it for $22,000. So with the title and transfer and everything, it comes out to $22,108.50. So I already got to move on it fairly quick if we want it. The guy is holding it for us. So I asked Connie to go ahead and write the PO and get the check ready. So if we agree upon it today that we can sign it, they can give it to them. Monday morning they can go up and get it.
Has he had a chance to drive it?
Yes, he has driven it.
Okay.
He said the brakes are good, the tires are good. The only issue that he has, and I told him to suck it up, is doesn't have air conditioning. If you're gonna use it, it's not gonna be a daily driver, you know?
Right.
And they shouldn't be in it that long anyway.
Can you do a VIN check on the serial number? If there's, you know how when you buy a used car, you run a report on activity on the VIN? That's the only thing I would think, but I don't really see
What do
it.
you think you're gonna find? It's
Any
been in a bar.
accidents or floods or rollovers or insurance, what you're gonna find is any insurance claims, which I don't think. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't see.
Well, with it being a one owner, and I did ask him too to get a maintenance record if they got it, which they should have. As well as he kept the truck, I'd say he kept records on it as well.
I would think. Seems like a great deal, and I'm just kind of surprised we're getting it at this price, and especially in these conditions when it's gone out for auction.
Well,
Because I've seen these auction prices go
he's
way
talking about
outside.
buying a new one.
So he wants to move quick on it.
So
too.
he's in the works of buying a new one, and instead of him trading it in, he sold it outright, which he probably got a few more dollars for it than what they'll give him, because they won't give you nothing on trade-in.
Well, you know what? If he goes to the auction, he's going to pay an auction fee as well.
Yep.
So he might be playing that angle, but I mean, I don't think the money's any issue. There's plenty of money, right?
There's not plenty of money, but yes, we have the money.
We have the money to do that.
There's well, let me rephrase. There's money to buy it and then money to fix it if we have to fix it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think $22,000.
For 2 months, you got more than, if you
If
couldn't even
you
rent it
rent
for
it.
2 months for that price.
You could auction it back. You could use it for the whole, a year and auction it off and get more than your money back.
Probably.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is give Rob a $100 finding fee for doing such a great job.
That's part of his job.
That's part of his job, yeah, we really can't do that, so.
That's why I had been having him look, because you never know when you'll find that one in the rough.
He's
Just
got-
like
he's got an-
Riley stumbled upon the box, what was this, box spreader?
The box spreader, yeah.
Yeah, they stumbled upon that, and they bought it immediately in Indianapolis. I mean, they bought it on site, you know, because it was like, my God, do you know what you got here? Guy said, so, sell it.
Fantastic.
So, it's basically just building our inventory to, you know, do the collaboration between Riley and Morgan that we've established, and
I think for the price of what we got into the stuff to do it, within 2 years, we basically paid for it.
yeah, within 2 months we'll pay for this
No,
truck.
really.
Because we'd have to rent one. There's just no way we could keep borrowing other township stuff.
Yeah, we either stumbled into the buy of the century or getting set up for something. But is he gonna drive it back home, or is
Yeah,
he gonna
they're
carry
gonna go
it?
up. If we approve it, they're gonna go up. He's gonna send Mark and Steven up Monday and drive it back. Rob had no qualms. In fact, the guy said, if you are 100% sure that you're gonna buy it, you can take it home right now. And Rob said, no, I'm not gonna do that. But the guys said, you can start driving home.
Rob's
But he's
got it.
also another township person, so he
Well,
kinda knows what we're in, what he's
Yeah,
dealing with.
I think they help each other out. And Rob's a perfect guy that makes a connection with a guy. I'm sure they felt like he was doing God's work to sell it to us.
So
Perfect. I'm there.
that's my motion to purchase the truck for $22,000 plus the tax and title fee. Not tax, it's the title fee, so it'll be a $22,108.50 for a 1995 Ford F800 tar truck. The date of the purchase would be 3/28/18, because that's when we kind of committed to it. And then it's, is this a then and now?
Yeah, it has to be,
Okay,
but
it'd be a
for
then
that
and now
amount
of 3/28/18, and the date of today, 3/31/18.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay,
Mr. Brucker,
yes.
Mr. Kolb,
Yes.
Mr. Updike,
Yes.
motion carried.
I should have passed this back. There was 3 of them. All right, so what do you need from us? Signatures?
Okay, here's the purchase order. I have the check in the computer, it's not printed yet, but it won't take me but 30 seconds to print it off. And get your signature on that, and I'll to put it back there for Mark on his desk, so that they have it Monday morning, they're gonna take
They're
off
gonna
it.
leave at 6, I think he said.
So I'll get it back there so they have it. okay, you brought up about the collaborative agreement with Riley, and
Yes.
we approved it and everything, but
We
all
did.
we had was the draft, and so no one has signed it.
So, Brett,
Yeah,
Sign
Brett
that.
that signs it, and then if it's okay with you guys, I talked to Nick yesterday. Their meeting is Wednesday night. I can take it to their meeting and get his signature, if that's okay with everybody.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so I dated one the 13th, the day that we approved it, and then I've got one that's blank because I'm not sure whether Riley wants to go with that 13th of March date or if they want something else.
well, that's the day we finalized, so if they want to change, if they want to put their date when we
Okay.
signed it as different, that's fine.
Okay, then have Brett sign that one.
So, do you need anything here?
I just need that back so that I have it, and I'll print the check when we're done. That's all that I have.
Okay.
Rob's running out of room in his barn for equipment, isn't he? Does he have enough space in there?
We got the other barn, they'll make it fit, cause I already asked that question
Yeah.
before we even started looking. He says, we'll make it fit. Cause we got the pole barn too.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, and what I like about that is, when we do cut and rebase, we can actually just go do a double chip seal over top of it, even if we don't do the road that year. We got the equipment, cause he can go get the tar, we got the sprayer, you get potholes, that's the easiest way to fill potholes with that wand and gravel, you just fill them back up.
Now, who supports us had been supporting us with that tar truck in the past?
Ross.
Did the county
No,
come through with one?
Ross had one that we were borrowing. But that was just that wasn't a truck, that was just.
Well, we used to have one before, way before I was even a trustee. And they got rid of all of it, and then they started going with the contracts through the county. But everything has gotten so pricey
Yeah.
and costing so much, I think you're gonna see more and more going back to doing it themselves, because you can do it basically half the price.
You know, and there's nothing to say that, not that I advocate this, but if we wanted to, because the truck's gonna sit probably 10 months out of the year. It's gonna sit. That's not good for any vehicle. I mean, not that you can chip seal in January, but, you know, who's to say we couldn't rent it to Ross or, you know, other neighboring townships?
Yeah. How would,
I know, Wayne Township wanted to get in on our collaboration, it was just too far away. But if we've got the equipment, we could rent it and have some kind of agreement where if something breaks down, it's their responsibility, so we don't get caught holding the bag.
but how do you classify money that comes in like that? Because basically now you're in a business.
I'd have to check with the auditor's office. I can't answer that question off the top of my head since I've not had that before.
Yeah.
But I would check with the auditor's office, with UAN and with local government services.
And it may not be worth doing, cause you may only be allowed to
Yeah,
rent it for what
Right.
the cost.
Kinda like the community
Yeah.
center, we can't rent it, we can't make any money on it.
right.
It's probably more of a collaboration opportunity than but I mean, even that's great, cause that's even better than somebody paying it. We're probably doing
I'm
better
not
off.
saying to make money, I'm just saying to keep the truck operating, so it doesn't sit there and then when you go out to use it, something breaks down cause it just froze up or.
Well, there's pluses and minuses, cause then if we need it, then we gotta rent it out, we can't use it,
That's
so
true.
That's true. I mean, it'd have to be on our
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
If we know it's gonna sit there for, you know, I'm just threw it out there. But, okay,
Well,
That
thanks for setting us up.
that was the main thing I had. The chief asked, he said he sent you guys an email, wanted to know if a workshop on April 10th, to bring in the, architects. We have to have 3 architects come in. We just have to interview them basically, find out what their, you know, worker, make sure they have, insurance and what kind of warranties they have and blah, 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 blah. Jack Grove gave Jeff a whole list of things that we need to ask during the interview. And then we can narrow it down to one. That little 150, Ohio Revised Code 153.71 really isn't applicable in this case, even though we know the scope of the project, or scope of the design is gonna be less than 50,000. Jack said in a court of law, you can't, that's like segmenting the project, can't do that. They look at the overall project, we know the project's budgeted for 500,000, so any entity of that 500,000 has to be added into that. So we can't look at it as a $50,000 project. We have to look at the whole thing. So he said if you're doing the bathroom remodel and it's, $38,000 and that's all you're doing, then you could do that. That's when that 153.71 would be applicable. But if you know the whole project's gonna be more than 50,000, you can't separate it in. You're kind of going, he said it's not defendable in court. So.
So that's before the meeting, like
That's
5 o'clock,
5
just
o'clock, 5 o'clock on the 10th, so you guys good
I'm
with
all right with
that?
that.
What day did you say that was?
The next township meeting is
Yeah,
the
April 10th.
Great.
Just come in
Be
at
there at
5.
5.
Would be better.
I like doing that meeting right there in front of the other meeting.
Yep. Okay,
Personally.
so he will get that scheduled. Not that this is part of what I was gonna talk, or what I wanted to talk about today, but on Thursday I went down and talked with Debbie Bush. Her and her husband Rick own Priority Tool, and just wanted to look at the building and everything. I started digging around and I got with the Butler County auditor, and I also talked to the engineer's office. The question was, in Dale's mind, was one, the setback is 25 foot from the property line.
Is it 25 foot from the center line of that?
No,
road?
I'm getting there. 25 foot from the property line. So Dale took it as being the edge of the right-of-way back. Butler County auditor, as of record, he pays to the center line of the Cincinnati Brookville. So his property
he's
line
good then.
basically is at the center line of that road. Now, is part of his building in the right-of-way? Absolutely. But the way our zoning resolution is written, it says 25 foot from the property line, not from the right-of-way. So is he in the right-of-way? Yes. On the one corner of the building, he's definitely in the right-of-way, because the road is 20, the lane is 12 foot wide each side, and then the double
He's in
yellow
the
line.
road right away?
He's in the road right-of-way. There's a road right-of-way for Cincinnati Brookville, according to the Butler County Engineer's Office, is 66 feet. So it's 33 feet from the center line of that road. He's 49 feet from the center line of the road. So 33 from 49, 16. He's 16 foot in that right-of-way. But there's nothing we can do about it. He's
Now, he
perfect.
does know if something goes through there and they have to tear that up to go through, they can.
That,
And he can't fight that, cause that's in right away.
that,
As long as they know that,
that's,
yeah.
he's fine. I mean, legally, he's fine. And Dale was under the impression that he was building a like-for-like building. This is the permit, this is the drawing that he gave with the permit for, I'll bring it between you guys. This is the drawing he brought into Ed, April of 2017 to get, approved, and Ed approved it. Here was the existing building. This is the concrete pad that's there, and it was clearly showing that he was gonna extend that building bigger than what the original building was. This 66 feet is from the center line of the road to that corner. That's the only measurement on this drawing as far as setback. So I told Dale, I said, in the future, if people come in, get
Whatever's
a
closest.
measurement, or get one for every corner. Because the way his building's sitting there, it looks like the road's crooked, but this is his lot. Cincinnati Brookville actually runs straight. His lot is angled, okay, or like this, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
So you're saying, well, let me get this setback square.
Actually, Cincinnati Brookville runs right with that line.
his lot is.
His lot
is
goes
crooked.
off angled.
Here it is, right here.
So you said 66 feet. So that would be 33 feet on each side of the center line?
Right.
And that takes into the account the right-of-way.
Right.
So if you look at this drawing here, and you come off 33 feet from the center line,
It's gonna be right about here. He's gonna be,
so he's not in the right-of-way the way I see it.
yeah, he is.
But how far back did he set off
He's
from the
49
center?
feet from the center line.
So
33 feet.
So he's not in this.
No,
He
no,
oh,
he should
okay,
be.
he's not in the right of way. I'm sorry. I explained that wrong. He's not in the right of way, but he's not 25 feet off the right of way.
Okay, yeah,
He's
because
not
I
in the
thought
right
you
of
thought
way.
he was
He's
building in
not-
the right of way,
I
the
did
way you
say
said that.
I said that wrong. I said that wrong. He's not in the right of way.
We know what you meant.
He's 49 feet back, the right of way's 33, so
Okay.
he's 16 foot.
All right, well, we're good then.
Okay, so that was that. Okay, so I will bring that up because I got a call from Daryl and he was very upset that nobody got down there. So I had a talk with Dale, and Dale's not very happy right now. But I told him he's got to, especially if you say you're going to do something. It's in the minutes from the March 13th meeting that he was going to be down there on Thursday. He didn't go, he didn't call, he didn't do anything. He just didn't show up. And he still has not showed up. I came up Thursday and said, hey, you want to go down? He said, no, I'm busy. I got something.
I don't know why he resists. That's a quick kill.
So
Get down there and get him going.
it was just, I told him, I said, I know you got a lot going on. You're learning the job. You got a lot on your mind with, rewriting the resolution and all that. I said, but
Yeah.
if the zoning resolution revamping has to take a back burner to keep up with the day-to-day activities, then let's just tell us and we'll say, okay, fine, put it on hold for a month, whatever. But you can't let people hang like this. I said, this just got blown out of proportion because it just happens to be Daryl's brother-in-law. But and he said, well, Daryl really jumped into I said, I'm not saying Daryl was right, okay, but Daryl's content was right. Was he the right messenger? I don't know about that. I don't agree with that. I said, he was speaking on behalf of his brother-in-law, but his brother-in-law should have probably been the one delivering the message, not Daryl. And I said, I think Daryl just came here because being a former trustee felt he had a little more clout. But, I got to agree with Daryl in this case. You can kind of drop the ball. And he was upset with me, but, I felt it had to be done. So,
Okay.
all right. Then I kind of touched on it at Tuesday's meeting. Got a complaint through Contact Us from Mike Baum about a farmer up there, Moorhead, I think it is spreading human waste on their property. Well, then he sent another one complaining about election signs and this and that, and then I still didn't have a way to get a hold of him. So he had an email that I found. I emailed him. He did call me back. And we talked for a little bit, and he was complaining about his next door neighbor having a concealed carry classes, holding concealed carry. He said there's shooting going on all the time. I said, boy, you got a lot of problems up there. I said, you're complaining about the human waste. I said, you're complaining about and I thought it was, this current election. He said it was November election. He said that, people were putting signs in his yard. He took 3 signs down. They just kept coming back, putting them in. I said, well, I can't speak for that. I said there was a lot going on last November. I said, but I thought it was this election. I said, well, the only thing we got on the ballot right now is an EMS levy, and I talked to the fire chief, and we don't have any signs out. They're not going out until next Wednesday. So I said, it isn't us. I said, now I know there's a heated contest with the Butler County Commissioners, and I said, I know Cindy Carpenter and Lee Wong signs are everywhere. So he said, well, can you put me on a do not contact me for a political sign list? I said, well, if there was one that existed, which I don't know of any, I said I could, but it probably wouldn't do any good. Anyway, I'm on a do not call list for telemarketers, and I get more calls now since I put myself on that list than I did before. So we laughed about that. But anyway, this Art Balf has a concealed carry business teaching classes at his house. And so he said, I complained to Ed Teets a couple years ago, and he said, I got nowhere. So I came in, Dale and I pulled the file up from Art Balf, and it clearly shows that, he got a complaint back in 2015, April of 2015. So he sent a letter to Art Balf because of that complaint. He said, Mr. Balf, it has come to our attention that you are teaching concealed carry classes on a continuing basis and are charging a fee for each person taking the class. These classes are on your property. would be considered a business since these folks are paying customers. Under the rules of Morgan Township zoning resolution, a business is not permitted in an A1 agricultural district. Your property is in an A1 district. Therefore, we must ask that you stop all classes on your property immediately. Your situation has been forwarded to Roger Gates, Butler County Assistant Prosecutor, and we are prepared for litigation if necessary. If you'd like to discuss your situation further, please call me at the zoning office, 738-8279. Sincerely, Ed Teets, Morgan Township Zoning Administrator. So apparently, Mr. Boff came in to Ed's office, and he brought him a couple documents. He brought him one, his original, his zoning non-conforming. He had a business before 1988 when zoning was put into, was established. So he was grandfathered in basically to have his commercial engineering and surveying company at his house. So he's good there. So then he sends in a certificate of achievement for in appreciation of 30 years of dedicated and committed to the Ohio Division of Wildlife Hunter and Trapper Education Program. So he told Ed that he's been doing this for 30 years, which is before our zoning came into effect. Okay. So Ed contacts via email, and there's the email chain, contacts Roger Gates. He said, "Hi Roger, if a person had a grandfathered business in an A1 district such as a surveyor's business and had a non-conforming certificate issued in 1988, could that certificate be used to then have a business of concealed carry classes on the same property today?" I have a feeling the answer is yes. This is what Ed wrote. So Roger wrote back, "Is the surveyor's business still operating from the property?" Ed wrote back, "Yes, on a limited basis. The owner is semi-retired but still does some survey work." Roger Gates wrote, "I don't have any specific authority to support me at this point, but I think that starting a different business, especially one with more people, where more people will be coming to the property, it is an expansion, extension, or substitution of the non-conforming use. I assume that your zoning resolution prohibits expanding, etc. of a non-conforming use without approval of the BZA. I recommend that the person applies for a variance and goes before hearing before the BZA." Ed wrote back, "Thanks, Roger." So then he wrote, "Hey, Roger, I thought the expansion of a non-conforming use might be the answer, but after looking at the papers Mr. Boff brought into me, I think not. He brought me a certificate that was given to him by the Ohio Division of Wildlife for a permit allowing him to be an instructor for 30 years for gun safety and hunting safety. So apparently he's been teaching at his property for at least that long. So it looks to me that we have to allow him to remain as is. Is that your opinion?" Roger said, "Well, unless he is substantially changing how he is doing the teaching, for example, if his instruction was always provided one-on-one, but now he's bringing in 20 people at a time, not sure that would make a difference. But if he is bringing in more people, I would think we have to consider the above mentioned a zoning resolution or a zoning variance, zoning resolution variance." Okay. Ed wrote back, "Okay, thanks." So then he writes a letter to Mr. Boff, dated May 5th, 2015. "Dear Mr. Boff, I have reviewed the documents that you brought into my office on April 27th, 2015. These documents include your non-conforming use certificate from 1988 for your surveying business, and 2, your 30-year certificate of appreciation." Now he's calling it a certificate of appreciation. He's not calling it a permit that he referred to as with Roger Gates. "From the Ohio Division of Wildlife for being an instructor in hunting and firearms. Instructions which you stated took place at your residence on California Road. I have discussed these documents with Roger Gates, Assistant Prosecutor for Butler County. At this time, it is my opinion that you are not in violation of any Morgan Township zoning regulations and with either your surveying business or your concealed carry classes. Sincerely, Ed Teets. Now, in talking with Mike Baum, he said, I clearly stated that, he said, let me clear the record first. He said, Art Baum is my uncle.
Art Balf.
Art Balf is my uncle. He said, it's his dad's wife's husband, so it's his brother-in-law, his dad's brother-in-law. They don't get along. They all are built, got parcels of land, and they built on, I guess, the grandparents' farm, which is up at around California 129. So he said he clearly was an instructor for 30 years for, gun safety and hunting safety. But he did it all at Millville Sportsman Club. He started teaching the concealed carry at the Millville Sportsman Club probably 10 years ago, and which was after zoning, and Millville Sportsman's Club wanted a portion of his income for holding the classes there, so he said no, so he moved it to his house. That was never mentioned.
And I know all about that because I'm a member of the club.
So, do we want to open this case back up or just let it die? That's the facts.
Did this just resurface from Mike's letter? Did he come back to us?
Mike just told me this on Wednesday when I talked, Thursday when I talked to him. He just said, I'm just so tired of hearing gunshots all the time. He said, I know, I've just, everything just came to a head, and he said, that's why I just unloaded and started sending you all this, I was just bitching about everything because I was upset. He said, but the main thing is this gun. He said, all I hear is bang, 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 bang. He said, there's 15 people over there just bang, 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 for like 2 or 3 hours. He said it happens at least, 4 or 5 times a month, at least, if not more.
I didn't think Art was having that many classes. Last time I talked to him, he was lucky to get one a month, and he's probably 4 or 5 people. So
I don't know. I witnessed that, but
I would resist readdressing this per Mike, who is a disgruntled relative. And from what I understand, Art's got enough property, and there's no ricochet. There's no possibilities of ricochet. There's no possibilities of overfire, or I'm sure he's. I don't know. Have you ever looked at his range, or have you ever? Is it up to?
Well, I've been out there. Have I been out on the range? No. I don't know how deep his property is, but I think they're just, if I'm not mistaken, the land goes like this and they kind of shoot down. There's not really a backstop, but just the way the ground is.
But I mean, I know he's got 2,500 foot because he's got the runway there.
Yeah, it's right next to the runway where they shoot.
Yeah.
The only problem is here's my theory on this too. Ed lied to us too in the meeting.
I wasn't a trustee. He was.
I was a trustee then, because from what way Ed said, everything he done, he's legal and all this and that. Well, obviously he's not. But here comes the next thing. Right now we have all the businesses on hold redoing the zoning. So can I go after him right now? No, because we're not going after any businesses until we get everything in there to where it needs to be. So I'm in a catch-22 right at the present moment. But personally, I think we ought to call him in, either that next zoning meeting or a township meeting. That needs to be presented, apologize to him, and then explain, well, right now I can't go after him because all of that is on hold because there's businesses everywhere.
Does Mr. Balf know that this is being relooked at?
I haven't talked to him. No, I just got this on Thursday, so.
So, yeah, we're in a bad spot. But see, too, I never got any of that comment from Roger Gage. All we were told, Roger said, "Oh yeah, everything's good. They're fine." That's what we were told in the meeting.
So if I'm Mr. Balf and I say, you guys have approved me back in 2015 via the prosecutor and through your zoning administrator and you guys let this ruling stand and have not readdressed
We
this.
didn't approve nothing.
You did, actually. If our agent approved this zoning approval to allow him to continue his range, then you're gonna stand behind that. Now,
How can I stand behind it when I got conflict with what the lawyer says and what he did?
I'm just saying that's gonna be the argument that because Mr. Balfe isn't gonna go away easily. He's gonna stand up and he'll
know
get his
him
back
personally?
up. Yeah, a little bit.
I-
A little bit.
He's-
I don't know, I wouldn't know if he walked in the room.
But he's a fine man. He's a good man.
He is a good man. I've known Art for a
I'm
long
not
time.
arguing that point.
I'm not either.
Do
but
you-
I think-
Do you agree with me,
I
Connie?
agree that he will probably push back. He's not gonna just go away.
And I think that's what I'm trying to get at. He's
But
got a
when-
leg to stand on here. So if we start pushing, just know that you might get run over. Just my comment.
Well, right
you've
now,
got
I
more
can't even
history
go
than
after
I
him.
do. That's what I'm saying. Let's just let this die down
Until
for a while.
everything, well, it ain't gonna die down, cause this has been a complaint for years, but see, I've been lied to and told that, oh, well, everything's legal. So I'm kinda aggravated too. Cause he sat here and told this whole board this, and then
Yeah,
I
you're
took him
talking-
for his word.
you're talking Ed.
I'm
Ed,
talking
right?
Ed.
Yeah.
And yet
Yeah,
then they
this guy
find
never
this,
even-
that,
This guy probably
hey,
never even came in, because he obviously didn't have to go before the BZA. He was just,
Ed made the decision unilaterally. It sounds like it to me. It didn't go to anybody
No.
or didn't even go to you. So
well, he just told us there was a complaint, and then he told us that he went to Roger and that everything's good. Well, obviously that's not right, it's right there in black and white. So, I was snookered too.
here's
So we'll
his
let you
pencil.
untangle all this then.
I don't know how you're gonna untangle everything, but, and see, that's like I told him, I'd say, well, I can't go after him right now, cause we have all that on hold.
That's our card. Then that's what you play.
But still need to apologize to the other one, cause, hey, we were lied to.
Mike, apologize to Mike.
Yeah. Cause actually, he was in the right when he was complaining.
Connie, do you know Mike?
No, I don't.
I mean, if they
vaguely
were
know his
complaining and the
father,
rules
but-
for that, it's just like all the businesses. Man, there was so many businesses in here, and they've been here before I even became a trustee.
But I think here's his resolution.
But
This
you
is
only
what-
went after ones you didn't like.
This is what Ed wrote.
You can't do
Squeaky-
that.
It's the squeaky wheel.
Here's what Ed wrote, and I don't know if this came to the trustees or not. Like I said, it was 5/15 or 5/5/15. It says, concealed carry classes resolution. Art had a non-conforming certificate to grandfather his surveying business. Art had a certificate from Ohio Division of Wildlife that he had been teaching gun and hunting safety for 30 years. He said his surveying business. He says at his surveying business location. You know that's not true, right?
Well, I know he used to do it over at the gun club.
So we could not, and he highlighted, we could not cite him for expansion of a non-conforming business.
Did he do the shooting at the range, or did
I-
he do the teaching at his?
As far as I know, he used to do it all at the gun club.
That's what I got from Mike Boff. I don't know. Like I
That's-
said, I'm
That's
just,
correct.
so the reason it sounds like
Just
the way,
they had a
the way
falling
Ed
out.
justified it was, he's got the certificate for, he's been doing it for 30 years, but
Right.
I think it was a little misunderstanding on where it was done.
He misinterpreted that certificate.
So,
I mean, I know why Art sent that up, but I think there's not a full explanation of what that certificate means.
Well, that certificate is just a thank you for teaching for 30 years. It don't say anything about where and
It
even
doesn't
that
even
he
say-
say classes.
I don't even think it says teaching. I think
No,
it
it's
says
just appreciation of.
standing behind our sportsmen and
Yeah, so it don't
wildlife,
even,
but-
don't even back anything, really. Certificate of Achievement. This certificate, here we go, is awarded to Art Balfe in appreciation 30 years of dedication, commitment to the ODNR Division of Wildlife Hunters Trapper Education Program and the Wildlife Resources of Ohio. It don't even say coaching, teaching.
the
Well, it
things
it's got instructor on here, but
The
he's
only
been an
thing,
instructor.
the only thing I didn't like about it, doesn't have a date when this thing was issued. So who knows, it could have been issued in, 2018, or it could have been issued in 1988. You don't know.
Who signed it? What's the?
Chief of Ohio Division of Wildlife, Scott, and I don't know what that
Zeph
is.
or Zoff,
Zoff,
and then Eric Pettit.
Outdoor Skills Administrator.
Eric Pettit, maybe?
Well,
Pistell?
Even if it was signed yesterday, it goes back before our zoning if he wants to make that connection.
Just barely.
Yeah, 18 or 18 to 88 would be 30 years right now.
Yeah, but just because you're instructor doesn't say you've had a business that's doing it.
Well, it's gonna be his word against somebody else who can substantiate their word, and whose word would you take?
But here's my thing, if I'm not mistaken, you have to prove that you had a business there, and you would have to show like receipts back to prove it. That would be their objective, to prove that yes, they've had the business there. That's the way that it's always been defined in the zoning.
So
Just like when,
He might-
Milt Whaley had to bring in the receipts to
from the
prove
campground, yeah.
from the campground that yes, you did it, and they came from back then. You had to prove that you've done it.
He just might well have that, because he seems like he's that thorough.
He might, and I'm not arguing that.
But I mean, would that?
But I can't take personal
No, I'm saying.
of him personally how I go against
But
this.
if we go to him and say, can you bring in some receipts just to back up your certificate of 30 years of operation?
But how are we gonna know where it was held? He could have got a receipt from, and it could have been held
I know,
at
it's a.
Sportsman Club. You
It's
don't know.
It's a infinite loop. I mean, you're gonna say, bring us this, he's gonna bring it, and you're gonna say, bring us that, and he's gonna bring it, and then at some point, you're gonna have to give up.
Yeah, that's why I didn't act on it.
I know,
found
I
it,
see, it's
and
not
what
as
worries
easy.
me is how many other files in that file cabinet have similar issues where Ed made his own personal decision and may have not followed the
Yeah.
attorney's advice.
Or told us one thing and it's something
'Cause
totally different.
we caught him in a couple of things too, where we said, hey, ask Roger Gates' opinion on this, and we either wouldn't get anything in writing from Roger Gates, which Roger Gates usually emails everything,
It's usually in writing.
and he'd say, well, he told me that over the phone, and it's like, and I didn't like the way he started it off was, my answer is yes, like I'm setting him up to tell me what I want to hear. If you're asking a lawyer's opinion, you just give him the facts and let him give you the opinion. You don't try to, influence him. Yeah. But, all right, we'll just let it.
I got one more here. Didn't we have an issue where somebody was shooting, or someone it was a noise disturbance? Remember that noise disturbance we had a week ago with the go-karts in the yard?
Mhm.
You got a similar situation here.
Not
If
really. They're
he's
not
ca-
charging people to ride go-karts in
Well,
their
no,
yard.
but just stay with the noise, because he's claiming a noise violation. I'm just saying, if you want to say you're disturbing the peace, you're not gonna come to us about disturbing the peace. Now, if you want to call the police and to go that direction, but as far as us being able to control the noise, either shooting or motorcycle, it's not us.
Well, he's claiming he has a business and they're doing that.
Well, that's
But
the second level, but I mean, as far as, if he wants to stop, and that's where he'll go if that comes to that. He'll say, well, what about the business?
That's been going on for 3 years, so obviously, who knows what avenues he pursued already. You don't know.
Yeah.
And he didn't even know that Ed was no longer here, because when he started talking to me, he goes, yeah, he said, if this gun range was right next to Ed Tietz's house, it would have been shut down by now. He said, give you an example, Ed Tietz didn't like the lights on over at Wurzelbacher because it was right next door to him, and he shut them down. And basically, there was nothing in it for Ed, so Ed didn't fight this. And Ed is a friend of Art Balls, so I said, okay. I said, well, take that factor out. I said, Ed's no longer, he wasn't trying to open the case because he knew he had somebody new and see if he could get a different answer. That clearly was not his intent.
Well, you could let Dale chew on it for a while, let him take a look
He's
at
got
it.
enough on his plate, I'm not putting anything else on his plate right now.
Then I'd say,
He's ready to crack, I think.
then I'd say, let's
Okay, I
let it
just
calm
wanted
down a
to,
little bit.
you know, I kicked the dust and I
Yeah.
uncovered this
Yeah.
rock, and I just wanted to let you know, so.
Just to throw this out there, if that's not the only place in Morgan Township where there is shooting going on an every
Private
week
property.
basis. And I'm sure the Sportsman's Club down there on South Dwyer, I'm sure they're all legal because they've been there forever, but every Monday night,
Oh, yeah, they shoot like crayons.
yeah, so, I mean, and like I said, I'm sure they were grandfathered because they've been there forever, but
There is,
But that's
there is
the
one
actual
on Alert New
designated
London.
gun range.
exactly.
There is one on Alert New London and Howard's Creek. The guy's shooting into the hillside, and neighbors complained, and I don't know exactly how that, I know we didn't do anything about it, but I don't know what the justification was. You know what I'm talking?
Yeah, somebody sent me something, let's see if I can pull it up.
I know, I hear some shooting behind Race Lane going west out towards Howard's Creek.
Yeah, it's.
I can't identify where it's coming from, but I hear it every other night.
It's Howard's Creek, and if you come down Alert New London to Howard's Creek, and it kind of jogs around, straightens over here, it's that house right there, and then over to the side, he's got it set up, it's
Yeah.
like targets, but it's shooting into the hillside. There's definitely a backstop there, unless somebody goes like this, but.
Yeah, that would be it then.
Well, if it'll come up. Alright. Ross Police Department, Black Road shots fired. On March 29th, around 1 p.m., we received numerous calls from residents reporting hearing gunshots originating from the Black Road area of Ross Township. After pinpointing the location of the gunshots, it turned out 2 individuals were target shooting in their backyard using a proper backstop. The identifying of the individuals were checked and confirmed. Basically, in an unincorporated area of Ross Township, a owner is allowed to shoot on their own property unless someone is being harmed or a person firing the weapon is intoxicated or otherwise illegally under disability. They are legally responsible for every bullet they fire.
On their own property. Doesn't say anything about holding classes. And I don't know if this guy on Howard's Creek in Alert New London holds classes or if he just shoots it for his own personal. I don't know what, but I know we did get a complaint of.
I know you're allowed to shoot, it's just like when they had the shots over on Tawny Lane and then it's hitting the neighbor's house,
Yeah,
then
that's
there's an
an
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you
Okay.
could hear them winging by over their heads and going into the trees.
Or the shot from the shotgun falling on your tin roof, that'd probably be a key too.
No, this was I believe an AR. So it was winging by and you could hear it going through the trees.
That would fall into the non-proper backstop criteria then, that would be a
Knowing
foul.
where your projectile is going is
Right.
yes. Just like the idiots at Ross when they start hitting the Ross school with the guns that were shooting over off of what was it? Not School Road. What's that other road? It goes behind the school.
It goes behind, is that,
I can't think of the name of the road.
isn't that Ross Millville? No, it's something else, so.
Comes off of 27, it goes
Yeah,
all the way over
around
to
and comes-
126, and you go in the
Oh.
back way to school. I can't think of the name of the road. Can you think of the name of the
I
road?
know what
Herman.
you're talking about.
Herman Road. They're
Okay.
shooting at the top, shooting up the hill. Targets on the top of the hill. So when they were shooting, their projectiles were going and actually started hitting the Ross High School office.
That's Herman that runs out to 27.
One of them was an
Yeah, that's
illegal.
down.
Wasn't even allowed to
They
have
need
his.
to enroll in our
Side street,
Valves
or- Yeah,
class.
I thought it was in the backyard.
Well, one was a felon that wasn't even allowed to have a gun.
South
it just
of
gets
the
better.
And they were
used to be
target
a middle
shooting,
school.
shooting
And it
up,
winds around
and
and
of
comes
course,
back out on
their
27
target was
north.
paper, so it just went
Oh,
right
that's,
through,
Ross Hanover.
and just,
No.
not
Yeah.
Ross Hanover. No,
That
it's
paper
not
was
Ross
supposed to
Hanover,
stop
it's
that
Ross.
223
Ross
round.
See, that's what I
Yeah,
thought
but-
too.
Yeah.
it's like, you put your target here and you're shooting here. Well, yeah, your bullets are going over there.
Launching it.
Well, there was a guy on New London Road in Ross that was sitting in his house and neighbors were shooting. He got shot, remember?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, he got shot. Luckily, it wasn't, it was in the shoulder, but he was sitting at a desk in his office and got shot. It's like, you know,
Take cover.
Well, I have one that where the guy, it happened in Ross on School Road. It was, my uncle's brother. Coon got on the roof, so he started shooting the coon, but he shot through the neighbor's house doing it.
did he get the coon?
I don't know.
Did the coon live to tell about any of the story?
He didn't hit nobody, but he shot through the bedroom wall while they were asleep. Didn't hit nobody. He's trying to kill the coon. And I still laughed
Obviously
when I
it was-
heard about that.
Obviously, it was nighttime.
Do you wanna
Yeah.
get the check
Coon
ready?
activity.
But I think he might have been drinking
Oh, I see.
before the
Oh,
coon got
see.
there,
Okay.
and yeah, it's probably not a good thing.
Alcohol's involved.
I don't think he was
Totally.
doing it stupidly, but he was just going after the coon and didn't thinking what the background was.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
We are adjourned.
All right, if we could stay for a few minutes till she prints the check out,
The
we
check
can get it
in.
signed.